I have breaking news regarding Paul Manafort.
Paul Manafort, 69 years old, likely to spend the rest of his life in prison.
The evidence against Paul Manafort is overwhelming.
He was tempering justice with mercy.
Jurors mingle freely in the courthouse elevators, cafeteria, and hallways with reporters and spectators. I've never seen anything like this.
I think the whole Manafort trial is very sad. When you look at what's going on there, I think it's a very sad day for our country.
Jury sequestration has become rare. It sometimes causes more problems than it solves because jurors don't like to be away from their families. And these jurors have taken an oath, and the process assumes that they are fulfilling their oath by not looking at news coverage. And the process assumes that they are fulfilling their oath by not looking at news coverage.
It does raise questions, doesn't it? They've gone home for the weekend. They are not sequestered. And, you know, I mean, it's everywhere. Anywhere they turn, anywhere they look, there's reporting on this.
He worked for me for a very short period of time. But you know what? He happens to be a very good person. And I think it's very sad what they've done to Paul Manafort.
But we got to wonder, is that really human nature in the world of smartphones for them to see none of this avalanche of coverage about this trial?
You say it's really tough, federal prison is. Well, it's equally tough for young black men who get convicted of crimes.
Absolutely.
That people don't think, you know, or think, why are they being convicted of crimes and getting far bigger sentences than aging white guy convicted of tax fraud?
Mr. Manafort, did you collude with Russians?
That's why you have a pre-sentencing report. The pre-sentencing report looks at the person's entire life. You're right. Are there disparities? That's the reason we have sentencing guidelines. But it's also the reason that Congress has seen fit to give judges the ability. It's reviewable, so we'll see. If the prosecutors decide, we're going to appeal this downward departures, they have the authority to do that.
I'm hearing from our producers in the courtroom, the judge has imposed the sentence of an additional 43 months in prison for Paul Manafort.
He had 47 months on the sentence from Virginia. The judge just now effectively added 43 months on top of that. So that brings us, doing math here, but I'm doing my best, 90 months total. Now, in the federal system, there's no parole, but prisoners can get 15% off for good time, good conduct in prison. So if you take that away, that'll put him at about 77 months.
A total of 7.5 years in jail for Paul Manafort.
But also remember, Manafort has been in jail for 9 months. He gets credit for that. So that brings us down to 68 months. And again, if I'm doing the math and the calendar correct, that means he would get out in November of 2024.
Ultimately, the Bureau of Prisons determines where somebody is going to serve their sentence, and that's based on a variety of factors, including how dangerous the person is, the length of the sentence, whether there's a need to isolate the individual from other persons. And there are several degrees of federal institutions, ranging from prison camps, which are the least restrictive, up to the kind of supermax prison that you talked about before, where El Chapo is going. Ultimately, what this all boils down to is we're just going to have to wait and see what Bob Mueller finds and what he reports.